So, our affirmation for today is I'm willing to smile more and laugh more, day 36. And what I want to remind you, because it is truly a reminder, is that laughing and smiling is a decision. That's all there is to it. And we have to be willing to trust, because trust is where it all comes from. See, the reason we don't laugh or smile is because we don't trust the response that we would get from those people who are around us. And when you don't have that issue about trusting, then you're willing to smile. You're willing to laugh and smile at everything and everyone. Hang on, guys. I'm going to reposition this camera like so. Okay, fantastic. So you see, we can make that decision, and it comes from trusting. Trust is the real issue, isn't it? Because if you have fear, if you think that that person is going to harm you, then that person is going to harm you. And if it's not going to be that person, it will be another person. But the fact is that you've opened yourself up to lack of safety, right? And when you open yourself up to lack of safety, then lack of safety will find you somewhere, somehow. When you start understanding that it is your attitude that creates insecurity, everything changes. I'll tell you a little story. Last night, so on my street, it's a lovely street. People get together, neighbors know each other, we know each other's children, we know each other's dogs, we recognize each other's vehicles. So if somebody is just a visitor, we know somebody is a visitor. It's a very tight-knit community. It's lovely. People are lovely here. And so last night, there was a bunch of them sitting outside, and I stopped to say hello. I was going for my walk, and I stopped to say hello. And one of them said, "Well, you're going for a walk now?" I'm like, "Yes, this is the best time. I like going for a walk in the evening because it's nice and cool. And I'm done for the day, usually. Like, I've finished whatever it was that I was going to do. All the dishes are washed, all my work is done, and then I go. And it's a really nice, relaxed walk, and I don't take the puppy with me. It's just me." So these beautiful ladies that I love, and they are my neighbors, said to me, do you go very far? Do you think it's a good idea to go now? I'm like, "Yeah, this is when I like going." And then one of them says, "Well, don't put so I usually walk with music really loud. I like listening to music really loud. And I have my favorite songs in my ears, and I go for my walk, run, walk, run, walk, run." And she says, "Well, don't stick that in your ears." And I didn't say why, because I knew I could feel that nothing good is going to come out of this. And then she says, "Well, if you have those in your ears, you won't be able to hear anyone coming up behind you." So, you know me, I had to stop it right there and say, okay, this thought virus has to stop right there. And if you want to remain infected, that's your problem, but I'm not bringing it with me on my walk. So I said to her, "You know what? We live in such a nice neighborhood. I know everybody here. And so if someone comes up behind me, it's probably just going to be one of you. Were you planning on doing that tonight?" And so I just kind of made fun a little bit, and I went on my way, and I said, "Okay, gotta go now." And I left. But you see, that's how you have to kind of think on your feet. It is about being aware of how you're thinking your thoughts and what you're saying to people, because it makes all the difference in the world. Your response makes all the difference in the world, right? How you respond. So I had a choice. I could have not smiled. So I had a choice. I had a couple of choices. I could have agreed with her, which would have put fear inside me, and then I wouldn't have gone on my walk. Or I would have gone and not enjoyed my walk. Or I could have been rude to her. I could have taken her on and said, you don't know what you're talking about. But you see, I didn't do any of those things. And that takes practice to learn. To still be nice to people, even though you don't like what they're saying and where they're going. Right? You still have to be nice to people. Because if you're not, then what happens is this thing starts. This argument starts. And then when an argument starts, both parties to the argument are trying to win the argument. And that just makes things a lot worse, right? Hang on, I'm just going to check for comments here. Yeah, well, it is all about making it lighthearted and funny, right? Because then that way you leave the other person in a nice place. It's not about bringing them down the emotional scale. What you want to do is you want to leave them at bare minimum where you found them, right? You want to leave them at the bare minimum. You want to leave them where you found them. You don't want to make it worse for them, but at the same time, you want to make it better for you. And that's the secret, right? That's what we want. That is what makes us powerful influences. And it means that you're still true to yourself, and being true to yourself is so empowering. It feels so good to be true to yourself, right? And so that is what we want to accomplish. But then the side effect of that is that it does make you laugh and smile more, right? Because you don't take things that seriously. In fact, you have fun too. And you start saying things to yourself like, they don't understand. And it is not my job to make them understand. I'm not going to do that, because that's just not going to go well, right? So this is how we learn to keep our place. When we say, I want to laugh more and smile more, what we're really saying is, I want to stay high on the emotional scale, no matter what happens and no matter what people are saying. Because people are at all sorts of places on the emotional scale. That doesn't mean I have to go there with them, right? So that's basically what I wanted to say to you, and that was fresh in my mind, so it came up. But today is live Q&A, so it's really all about what you guys want to ask me. It's about your questions.